Hey guys, Ryan Matthews here from Winning International. I'm super excited because we literally just got back from our Whitsundays retreat and I happen to have time to interview one of our amazing clients, David, who's literally gone from scratch, being a 20-year-old fitness coach to building a massive packed out fitness facility in the coaching space within a period of just a few months. To join this program, he had to quit uni. He had to invest $25K in our previous program, which was really premium. Okay, it's not that expensive now. And he literally went through all the roadblocks and hurdles to get to a point where he's now 21 years old. Okay, and he has got a multi six-figure coaching practice, which is crazy at the young age that he's at now. So, he's well beyond his years. But in this little interview, I really go through the highs, the lows, and exactly what it took, everything in between, to get him to that point. And it wasn't easy. I forced him to really stretch outside his comfort zone, forced him to really go well beyond his means to get there way faster. And in this interview, we'll expose exactly what got him there so you guys can emulate the results. So I'm super pumped to get into it. But if you're watching this going, this sounds awesome. I know this guy and I want in myself, I want to learn specifically how he got those results, then go below this video. Okay, I've got a few sessions free in the next week and you just might be right for one of those sessions. What I'll pretty much do if you are right is go through and help you get clarity. Okay, first and foremost is looking inside your business. And I'll tell you straight away, it's easy for me, only because we've worked with over 500 coaches to see exactly what's holding you back. And then I'll go through and help you with your niche, business model, and structure, and then help you with a marketing blueprint. So you can go out there and just execute like crazy. You can learn how pretty much David went out there and created a multiple six-figure fitness coaching business literally within a few months and just started smashing it just on this content. So make sure when you're going through this interview, guys, you're paying close attention, you're taking notes. But before we get into it, go below, claim your strategy session, pause this, come back, and then get into the interview. So let's get into it, guys. Cool, man. So thank you so much for being here. It's been an awesome week here at Seven Figure Coach Retreat. And you are definitely one of my favorite clients, Dave. You've smashed it so much up until this point. You're such a young, awesome dude. And today our goal when we're having this little chat is just to pretty much educate the people watching right now who could be in a similar situation that you were when you started out, with your fitness coaching business, and just show them the journey of how you got to where you are now. Because now you're smashing it. A few weeks ago, you had a 20K a week, which is fucking awesome. And you've worked all the way up until that point so hard to get a packed out offline facility, which is sick. So today I'm just going to ask you a bunch of questions and just talk through that journey, because it's one that you definitely should be proud of. So if you can just kickstart us, man, and by the way, thank you so much for being here as well. If you could just kickstart by just giving a little bit of an overview on who you help and how you help them, that would be fucking awesome, man.
Thanks, man, for the intro. And yeah, this retreat's been amazing. We can both agree on that. And thanks for the compliments and stuff. Pretty much what I do now, and I've got an offline facility, as you mentioned, in the heart of Sydney, in the Sutherland Shire. And I pretty much empower women to help take control of their body. Nutrition, training, mindset, accountability, everything they need to actually just really get on top of their life in terms of their health and their body, and really feel like that they've got a community that supports them while they do that. And that's really our mission, to just grow that vision. And that's where we're starting at right now. And that's what me and my team do. Yeah, they're in Sydney.
Awesome, man. Good stuff. So you're doing some awesome stuff right now. You can tell that you come from the heart. So you've got that coaching stuff down pat. You've got the vision down pat, which is awesome. Talk to me a little bit about where you were, because I love telling your story. When I'm up, I've told it this week. I love talking about where you were and then where you got to, just so the guys watching along can also learn from that and realize if you can go from that position to get to where you are now, then there's no excuses for any other coaches out there. So just tell the guys a little bit about where you started, man. When we started working together, where were you at?
Yeah,
How old were you as well?
I was about 20 years old, and I was just I was fairly new into PT. Started working at my local kind of commercial gym. Had an in with a trainer there. Got in, started there. Awesome. Pretty much no experience, nothing with actually training, and the gym environment is a little bit risky because you start paying rent pretty quick. Yeah. You got to get your own clients. You got to start learning how to run a successful business, essentially. So I jumped into it because I was passionate about fitness, and I knew that it was something I wanted to do one way or another and help people with that. So I jumped into that, but really had very little idea how I was actually going to make this work. Instead of just jumping in and hoping for the best. I was still studying at university, so I was full time at university. I started doing PT, just thinking, this will be easy. Clients come to me, I just train them. But obviously, as people who other trainers who work in commercial gyms probably know, that's definitely not the case. So I'm working in a commercial gym. I'm trying to juggle uni, trying to juggle, getting some clients, finding it, not going to lie, pretty damn tough. There was people around who needed their help in the gym, but getting them to see the value in personal training was really hard. And time after time, sitting in front of someone and them saying, "I'll think about it," or I'll get back to you about it. Let me talk to my partner. I was like, "Great, go do that." And as we know, typically that doesn't result well. So essentially, I'm at the gym, trying to juggle all these commitments, just trying to get started. And I was barely making my rent, and I was still working at my pizza shop on the weekends I used to work at to just keep my money going to actually pay my rent. That's
How much was the rent?
It worked out. It ended up about $280 a week. It built up to over time. So you didn't the first week wasn't that, but you build up to the rent. So obviously you need a few clients to actually make a profit. And I do remember a week or two not making my rent. I remember getting the invoices from the gym saying you didn't have enough in your account for rent this week, and then they take out $10 more, which is just ridiculous, just cruel, right? I actually remember that once or twice. As I said, that's why I was still putting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights in at a restaurant delivering pizzas to try actually stay afloat. As I got used to that, and as I said, still going to uni 4 days a week and things. So trying to juggle all that, and that was when we come across yourself at that point in time, and it was a bit of a big pivotal point where I knew something had to change. Otherwise, I was going to struggle with this kind of challenge in the gym for a longer period of time. Because, I didn't realize how hard it was going to be at first. Being completely honest. So that's pretty much where we started from.
Awesome, man. So it's safe to say that at this point, when we started working together, we didn't necessarily know that it was going to be this big ass long-term thing. It was more like solve the problems, get the initial business kickstart and get to 6 figures kind of thing.
100%.
Would that kind of be
100%.
accurate?
It certainly wasn't massive vision, overwhelming. It was just like, you're in a bit of a pickle right now, or you don't know what you jumped into, but you want to do it more. You want to be successful at it. You want to help people. You don't want to be delivering pizzas on a Friday night and scrubbing dishes. You actually want to be training people. You want to make it work. And that was definitely the starting point. And
awesome.
It was a lot about that belief that I could make it work, because after you do a couple of months in a gym and you're there and you're trying to talk to the members, and I was like scrubbing the treadmills, trying to talk to members to strike up conversations and try to get them into personal training. It felt like something that I just needed. You needed that solve, otherwise it was pretty frustrating.
So so at this point, starting out, your goal was just to make this work. Like, would that be accurate?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
that was the goal.
That was it.
Make this thing work.
Yeah, let's make this work. Let's make some money so I don't have to scrub dishes every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night.
Pizzas.
Yeah,
awesome, man. Thank you for your honesty, because where you are now is a direct reflection of all the work you've put in, which is amazing. So talk to us now about where the business is at. How's it forming? How's it functioning? What do you have set up? And a little bit more about where you're looking to go.
Yeah, so the business now has transitioned from the commercial gym environment to my own separate facility, my own company, my own branding, which we took the step in not too long ago. So essentially what's forming there now, we've got, a gym that's getting pretty full, full of awesome women who are, serious about changing their body. We've got a team of 2 trainers plus myself now, and, we're looking to expand more, and it's pretty exciting, obviously. So packing our facility, currently already looking at new facilities and things to expand to, possibly bigger facilities, so we can really grow the vision, because we started to get the, the business structure set up, how we know it needs to be profitable, but to still help the clients and give them enough attention, and just all the systems in place there. So it's starting to form quite nicely in that environment, and looking to just really grow the vision now that we've got that foundation kind of laid with what's happening and how we're structuring everything.
Awesome, man. So you got a packed out facility, which is awesome. You got 2 trainers under you, which is fucking amazing. Awesome, man. Again, how old are you now?
21.
20, I thought you were 22. So you're 21. You got 2 trainers working under you. You've made all this happen because you've been willing to work hard, which is awesome. So what do you think, if there were 3 success factors to you being able to get the gym to where it is now, based on where you started being in a commercial gym, struggling to kind of get that traction and even meet rent? What do you think the 3 main success factors to you getting there would be?
Very tangible success factors in this case?
Whatever you want. They can be intangible, they can be tangible.
No, I would do a bit of, I think a blend of them obviously would be wise. Because number one's obviously you got to put the work in, and you got to have a bit of confidence and belief, because that was something I struggled with at first, was that I barely even saw the vision for myself or the way I was going to make any money in this. I really struggled to see the belief and the confidence in it. And when we first spoke and you said, look, here's what you can actually do in this when you actually know what you're doing, I was like, all right, I'll step back and go, wow, all right. Seriously, I could barely sleep at night, when we, those first conversations where we really looked at what I can do, and if I just do X, Y, and Z, I'll get there. It was like, I was so excited. It was ridiculous.
Awesome.
So it was just that belief is number one that, you know, PT is not meant to be something you struggle in and you spend 10 hours a day training clients and you're run down and you're trying to keep them on track and you know, it's frustrating. So I think that's a very common thing, and I've you know, there's other personal trainer marketers who will use that against you and say, you don't want to work this hard for the rest of your life, you don't want to do all this the rest of your life. And I almost bought into that thinking that, oh, fuck, I just got into something that I love, but this is going to be so, such a drag. So it's important to have that belief, I think, and that then lets you work hard at it because you see where you're going with it. So I think that would be the first kind of intangible thing.
Just to quickly pause on that, what do you think you did to actually create that belief? Because I know there's a lot of people watching on going, fuck yeah, I need belief. How do I get that belief? Or what did you do to get the belief?
How do you
I
get
know
it?
a few things you did.
That's a really good one. I think, look, hearing about other people's successes is a big one.
Yep.
I find personally, you know,
Awesome.
seeing what other people do makes me want to do it more because, you know, I think other people can do it, you can do it sort of thing. That's just what works for me. Taking leaps of faith is definitely a big one, where you sort of step out and do something new. So for, you know, specifically for us, we started using a strategy at my gym to essentially kind of cold call members to essentially get more clients.
That's what went through my head.
Doing it from a very heart-centered place of calling them up who are struggling and wanting to actually give them value and help them out because they're probably throwing their $20 a week away at the gym and not getting the results they wanted to. So they need you to actually call them and say, hey, I know why you're here, let's actually get on track. But doing something like that, and once you start getting a bit of traction doing that, and I remember the first one I made, I was shitting myself. It probably took half an hour to build up the courage to do that. And I was so nervous, had the script in front of me, and I'm just like, just read the script. And the lady was super nice, and she was like, thank you so much for this call, because, you know, I've actually been trying to get on top of it, but I've been struggling. And I've actually got my 40th coming up in a couple of weeks, and I really wanted actually a kickstart, and, you know, let's go meet in the gym tomorrow morning at 5:30, let's do it. And I was just like, damn.
Hell yeah.
So that's what I meant, the belief from that,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it was so much easier once you had that, when you had those sort of times. And yeah, you call people who want to tell you to get lost, and, you know, that's all part of whatever, running a business and things. But yeah, I think the belief came from taking those steps, and it kind of just a snowball effect. And even running the sessions, when I first started doing more sort of small group training versus one-on-one training, which is definitely a better business model for it, and would probably be maybe one of the success factors, having a more intelligent business model. Even when you start doing, like I used to do one-on-one, going to say 2 or 3 in a group was daunting at first, and then before you know it, that's nothing. You got 5 in a group, and you're like, yeah, sweet. And that belief that I can actually, you know, I'm good enough to actually keep running this and make this happen.
Awesome.
Now having 16 people in a group and, you know, at once, and actually keeping all that on track is like, no
cool,
dramas.
man.
So leaps of faith and just stepping out is how you probably, I would say, you build that confidence, because everything is just like calling someone up now who's interested in the gym is like, I used to call people who had no idea I was ringing them. It's like, it's so much easier now.
Awesome.
And I've got the belief that if they speak to me and they're interested, I'm going to get them over the line now.
So you did the thing you're afraid to do to build that
fair
confidence.
bit.
So I remember us chatting and you saying, cool, here's what I want to do. The calling, and I was just like, double that shit or even raise the standards again. So it really forced you to go way outside your comfort zone and then become bulletproof with it. And that really improved your certainty as well as just doing the things you had to do. You're always, every single time we came up with a plan, you did it. There's nothing where you didn't do. And that's just so awesome from our end. That's why you've got the results.
Yeah, and that literally started from not wanting to say I didn't do it at first. Like I didn't want to get back on a call or have to say, I only made 20 of my 50 calls this week. I didn't want to say that at first. And then from there it became, holy crap, I just, you know, I've doubled my client base in the last couple of weeks. I want to keep this going. It became more of a positive at first, and I think that's probably often how it might grow for people a little bit. You know, you do it to get out of negative, like I was, and then eventually you just let that positive kind of go. And you get that belief that you can keep making this happen. And, you know, as the results go, you feel good. As you said, you're 20K one week and you're just like, you know, you want to go punch a wall and stuff and flip over cars. And that's how you get that belief. At least that's what I find personally.
Awesome, man. Oh, I was just going to say, it's in the short term, sometimes it's coming from desperation. It's like, I need to make it work. And then we want to get more into inspiration, which you're doing now. It's more like, well, I'm doing well profit-wise. Things are looking good. But I'm shooting for the stars because I want to change way more lives and then just continue to get the vision going forwards. So that's factor 1. That's a little piece of advice number 1. What would piece of advice number 2 and 3 be if you just want to quickly paraphrase them as well?
We'll do number 2, probably what I touched upon about your business structure a little bit, I think, because when we started all one-on-one, and it's like, that's great, but it's very time consuming and it's not scalable as a lot of smart trainers are starting to become aware of. And it's not that you can't get personal time with a client in a group atmosphere, and that's what we do now at my facility. It's just that you got to think about long term. You got to think about how you're going to help more people, and you can't do that if you're working 50 hours a week, burnt out, trying to do all this yourself. And I think having a smart way of doing that as a PT is very important. Otherwise, you're just limiting yourself and you're going to burn out. So understanding that you can train multiple clients at once, groups, but still give them a personalized workout and still take the time outside of workout, within a workout, to have the one-on-one interaction and still impact them the way you should be. But realizing that it has to be something you think about long term.
Yeah.
Because even though, once we started doing that, and I thought, all right, what if I get all these clients, I want to start making money, how much time am I going to be spending doing this? How am I actually going to do this long term? And, as I touched on before, and that's really important to understand as a tangible thing. Think about, start the way you want to finish a little bit and really understand that from the start. If you're a PT who's getting burnt out and it's just like, I want to take on more clients, but then that means less time at home with the kids, less time at home with the partner, or less time doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
It can be like a push and pull situation, I think. And I got that vibe at first, and when you explained to me, all right, what you do is semi-private or small group training, and this is a much more smarter way to do it, I was like, damn, yeah, it was. I can't wait to get my first 5 people in a group. Let's do it.
Yeah, awesome.
And that excited me. So having that, more intelligently set up business model for a PT. And I was at a commercial gym. You don't need a facility to do it. I was at a commercial gym, and unless you have really strict rules, there's nothing stopping you from training groups. And I just started setting up groups. And I remember my PT manager saying to me, he's like, "Oh, you got a lot of girls coming to you at the same time now," and he didn't even know that this is what I was doing, because he just assumed everyone at the gym just did one-on-one training.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
And I was starting to do this small group training and getting more clients.
Yep.
And all that sort of stuff really quickly. And he was kind of like, "Oh, that's interesting how that's happening." And it was just because I had a business. The way I structured that model at the gym was something that he didn't teach me, which would have been lovely. Obviously, to know as a new trainer. So that helped me out massively with growing faster and just knowing that I could get this to work and then transition to an offline facility that had the same model really smoothly. And that was really important, that it didn't take much change. It was just a scale difference. It was that I'm doing groups of 5 or 6 in my gyms. There's not much room. I need more room now. I've got too many clients. All right, let's go get a facility I can have 16 in the workout. Great. Okay.
Awesome.
Cool. So I think that was number 2.
Cool.
Number 3?
Just on that number 2, I think there are 2 main takeaways there. One is be a long-term thinker, which is one thing you've really switched super well. It's been awesome. Be a long-term thinker. So now you're walking, how do I set things up to scale for 50 facilities? Sounds huge, but we've discussed this, and we're setting up things to scale long-term, which is such an important asset to have. And secondly, it's not about the medium in which you're doing it. It's not about that one-on-one session or that feature. It's about the result.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it one-to-many or one-to-one or however you do it, it doesn't matter as long as they're getting the outcome.
Definitely true.
And in this case, you're getting them the outcome, so one-to-many is fine. But if you're doing one-to-many and they weren't getting the outcome, then that's not cool.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure, which because you get your clients' outcomes, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Just quick point number 3, and then we'll get to some
I reckon number 3 would definitely be, PT in particular. It would be sales. Would be learning how to sell.
Awesome.
I had absolutely no sales experience before. I didn't have confidence with it first, and as I said before about when I was struggling, thinking that you just go, hey, here's my training options. Which one would you like to do it? And I'll think about it. Great, go think about it. And then you never hear from them again.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating. And seriously, just after a conversation or two and learning the basics of selling, like not being a master by any stretch, but understanding just the basics of a couple of things to always ask, a couple of ways to frame how you want them to view what they're doing right now. Instantly, I just couldn't believe how quickly clients were signing up. I literally, as I said, I doubled clients within a week or two once I learned this sort of stuff. And obviously, you've got to get the leads and all that sort of stuff. But if you're at a commercial gym, for instance, or you've got your own facility, there's always people to help. There's always people out there.
Yeah.
But if you have no idea how to convert and close them, you're always going to struggle. And just understanding both the tangible how to sell and the mindset behind it, and the fact that they've got all this resistance and they've got something stopping them from actually getting involved and changing their life, and you just kind of letting them go away with that was massive for me in terms of when people did come. I remember ladies so struggling with it, and they just want to objection. They'd give me all these objections about it. I couldn't believe it then. Going, are you seriously telling me you can't do this right now? And once I learned how to actually reframe their questions and reframe what they're telling me about and show them what they're saying to themselves, and they were like, I've got to do this. And I was like, awesome. Definitely. And that was huge to learn that, and that blew up the business so fast. And if you want to get bigger PT, ultimately, you're going to have to learn how to sell, but just understand sales is a good thing. It's not like as we talk about, it's not an evil tricking them into something. You're selling them on something that they need, and it's really valuable to learn that. So
awesome, man. Great 3 tips. So just to recap, certainty, which is massive, belief, and so many PTs going, holy shit, this is going to be awesome, and then they're in the gym amongst other PTs that are struggling, and their belief goes from, hell yeah, I'm going to be Michelle Bridges, to crap, this is not possible.
Yeah.
And so belief's massive. Secondly, we went through business structure to have it scalable. And thirdly, sell. Learn how to sell. Sell from the heart. Sell from a genuine place, which you rock at now. We did sales yesterday, and I was like, Dave, you don't have to be in this because you're far more than capable enough, which is awesome. So good stuff. Cool, man. So that's some awesome positives that have come out, some learnings. Let's talk about some hiccups, because the guys watching going, this sounds so smooth and easy. You were struggling, you got cash flow through by doing the one-on-one, then you transitioned to your own facility, smooth as hell, easy. Now you've got this packed out facility, and we're looking for a monster facility to really stretch you, which is awesome. So talk about what's the one biggest struggle that you've gone through across this process?
Biggest struggle.
Something that you think that the guys watching along might, have gone through themselves. Something that was, once you got over, made all the difference, but it was there at the start.
I kind of want to break it down to two, but
oh, go for it, man. If you want to do two.
The first one was still like the first steps to getting more clients at the commercial gym, where, as we said, the strategy for me was to do cold calling and was to get onto members who were struggling and help them out, and that took, like, once I felt like I conquered that, it just gave me so much momentum to just continue on with it. And the first time I had people in front of me to call, I had like maybe 15 or 20 numbers, and it took me like 3 or 4 hours to literally make the calls. And logically, how on earth does it take you that long to make the calls? Like, half the people probably didn't even answer, but I seriously spent so long procrastinating on it. But once I got better and better at it, that was so much confidence to me. And once I got over that and got that, and that belief came from that, I think that was huge. And if you're sort of struggling when you never really had that feeling of, oh my God, my business is growing rapidly, it's hard to imagine that. So that was a massive struggle. And then obviously and then the obvious one is going from the transition from a commercial gym to your own facility was nuts in terms of what to do. And I think the benefit for me was that we pushed me quite fast to not actually go analyzer mode on it. And I think if I did, I would have freaked out. If I thought about every little thing I had to do to set it up, I would have freaked out. I would have worried about, do I have the money? Do I have the time, enough client? Everything would have just daunted me. But it was kind of just like, all right, we set a goal to do this, find a facility, and then we'll work out the rest. That's literally what we did. And then, before I know it, I'm like, well, I've got all these things to do. Let's just go do them. So, awesome. Running, as we said the other day, training clients, morning and night at the gym. And in between that, I'm driving to places, look at equipment, look at flooring to get quotes on painting. And while I'm driving there, I'm on the phone talking to new leads to get them into the facility to actually have clients to train. Or have more clients to train, because I've got all this room now. So, taking that plunge is obviously super daunting. But the best thing is to, sort of step first, think second, as we've talked about a little bit before, to not go analyzer mode on it. And I think, it's probably a business rule in general, is to have that plan in place, but you don't need every detail before you actually do something. And there's another girl here in the program, Crystal, who's talking to me about the same thing, and she's stuck in that mode a little bit, and she's worried about, what about this, what about that? And I just told her my story about, you just take that plunge and you work it out, and if you seriously have the belief and backing, it's not that bad. And if you put in perspective, you go for a facility for like a 1 or 2 year lease, it's really not that big a deal. When you give perspective, you're going to be, if you love this business, you're going to be in fitness the rest of your life, the next 20, 30 years, and you're worried about 1 or 2 years of maybe struggling to pay, at first with different things. It gives you that kind of freedom and empowers you just to do it and be like, hell yeah. It's not the end of the world. Even if this screwed up, it would not be that bad. There's so many worse situations I could be in. So not over analyzing, making big moves like that. Kind of just think, just if you want to do it, step into it. As long as you've got obviously the basics. I think that was a big roadblock for me at first, because I was so daunted by that concept. I was like, how on earth do I go from gym to my own place? There's so many steps in between. But just kind of going, all right, I'm going to do it. We'll work all that out as we go a little bit. I knew the basics. I knew the business model. I knew how I was going to be marketing. I knew a lot of the stuff. I knew where I wanted to get to a little bit, but I had no idea the really in-depth steps. So just getting past that and just doing it, and as we said, working out as we go, was really big, and that was a huge step. Once I did that, the confidence grew. Awesome, man. Thank you so much. It's awesome. So first thing I noticed there was, getting your first few clients. And we used a strategy which is not recommended as a proactive, amazing strategy. Cold calling. Butterfly in your head, man. Yeah, that's all right. not the best strategy in the world, cold calling. But the reason we did it was not for leads, although and sales, that was the bonus. We did it for fear. And if we look at the coaching ladder, the first focus point on the ladder is fear. I mean, that's the first thing we need to overcome before we do anything else. And like you said, going through that fear gave you confidence, momentum, and then you're like, hell yeah, I'm smashing it, and then everything else became easier. So that was lead generation done in what we call a hunting way, where you're kind of just looking for that next meal, like hunting and stuff like that, versus harvesting, where it's much more calculated and proactive,
which is what you do for your gym now.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
You know, lots of leverage, plenty of leads from online marketing, which you smash now and you're a master at. You know, but starting out, getting that confidence momentum was awesome. So great job, man, great job. And second big struggle was going, how do I actually take that big step up? I need to make big decisions, which is so valuable. And I feel like that's one thing I'm most proud of you from, just because I don't feel like you really articulate from an outside in point of view of how big those steps were. Because for you, like, yeah, I just had to step into it. But essentially you were at uni, your mum wanted you to stay at uni, you were struggling with cash flow pretty much, or you had cash flow from the other gym, but it wasn't amazing. And, you know, you're 20, what the hell? And you're like, fuck this, I'm stepping into my own facility, I'm taking out a lease, and I'm moving everything across. And to be able to stay afloat, I have to make a bunch of new sales. Yeah. And you know, selling between sessions, going crazy. You know, that's so admirable. And now as a result, you've got a packed out facility. Time to go to the next one because you took that big decision, which forced you. You didn't even have any choice. You had to make it work, which is awesome, man.
Yeah.
So cool. Really good stuff. So good to hear and learn from your journey. It's been amazing. If there was one piece of advice that you would give guys right now that are kind of watching along going, oh, by the way, that was one thing I forgot. You know, not only did you step into a facility, but you invested in our 25K program. It's not even 25K now, it's 20K. You invested into our 25K program, facility, wanting to step into that, doing all these massive things at one time to say, fuck it. If I make these decisions, I have to make it work. There's no choice. And that's why you are where you are today, which is awesome.
That was part of that big decision. It wasn't just a facility. It was, it was kind of like, that was the first decision. And once I made that decision, it was like, well, now I've got to make the next big one, which is get the facility.
To make sure it works.
Yeah, when you've got very little money to your name and someone says, yep, it's 25K, and you're kind of like, well, let's do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you said, parents, you know, even partners were very like, what the hell are you doing? It took a lot of, I don't know, a lot of faith,
courage.
As we said. Yeah, it was pretty daunting. And, you know, as we said, once I had the commercial gym going relatively well, I'd blown that up and I was pretty packed out there. It was a chance to sit back a little bit. I could have sat back, and you know, I was probably one of the highest paid trainers at the gym. I could have got through my uni degree while doing that if I wanted to. I could have come out with a uni degree, making decent money at my gym, and I could have, you know, kind of settled for that a little bit. And you know, there was one or two trainers at the gym I think were kind of in that state where I looked at them and I said, "You've got plenty of clients. You know what you're doing now. Why haven't you sort of stepped out and done bigger and tried to do more?" And I think they were kind of in that comfort zone that we get into. And I had that opportunity a little bit, and you know. Instead, put 25K into Mastermind, and you know, to launch your next facility, it's kind of like forces you to just, all right, leave that. And now I'm, you know, if I didn't do that, I don't know, I'd probably still be there. I'd probably still be kind of like, oh, I want to do it, but you know, I'm pretty comfortable now. I'm making a bit of money. You know, I might go on holiday instead and spend that money there.
Totally.
So I think
we are there now,
and we're doing it instead, aren't we? But yeah, and now it's very similar because now I've blown out my current facility, and I've got this. Maybe there's someone, you know, for people watching who maybe their own facility and they want to expand, and that's their big step. And they're scared of losing touch with people and how that all works. Regardless, it's very similar. I could stay where I am right now and I'm making good money. You know, right now I'm a week away. My clients are still being trained. They're still getting results without me because it's well systemized. Awesome. And I could stay in the comfort zone a little bit as well and just say, great, I'm doing pretty awesome. This is great. I've got an awesome life. But you know, I feel like that long term leads to a lot of regret and leads to a lot of what ifs. Whereas step into the next big one, and again, it's another daunting decision. I might drain my cash flow again. I might have to do all this crazy stuff to get new clients. I might be hustling like crazy from 4:30 a.m. till midnight like I was. But ultimately, in probably a couple of years, I'll be going, fuck, I'm so glad I did that too. Yeah. So I think that's
hell yeah.
Yeah,
awesome,
that's a really cool point.
So if there was one kind of summarized piece of advice you would give to any coach, so life coach, fitness coach, health, any relationship, dating, business, any coach out there that wants to take that next big step, wants to get results and change more lives, what would that one piece of advice be?
It's a huge question.
Questions. Whatever comes to mind first.
I'm going to go the tangible and say that chances are you don't know what you don't know. And that's what I was, because I did not know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I needed to learn how to actually have a good business model, how to actually sell and convert clients, how to actually set up everything to succeed, because I had no idea there was someone out there who could show me all that. And I think that's relative. I mean, it's relative to my clients. They don't know what they don't know. They don't know they need to do this style of training, they need this type of nutrition. They have no idea. But once they do it and they get the results, they're like, they don't want to know where they would have been without it. And I think that's relevant for any coach, any personal trainer, whatever it is, that chances are, if you're not where you want to be, it's just because there's something you don't know and you don't even know that that's what's missing. But when you find it and you have these you know, breakthroughs like I had when you sort of showed me a lot of things, it's like far out.
Awesome.
I'm so glad I've come across this. I'm so grateful that I have been shown this because I would have stayed struggling without I found those things. So yeah, you know, don't be afraid to like, you've got to go out there and learn it eventually. And that's the only difference between where you, like anyone and where someone else is above them is that they've now learnt the skills, whether it's a mindset skill, the traits, or whether it's the physical stuff, is what's separating them. And that's, you know, that's anyone who's big in their business, in their thing. They've just learnt it. And
Awesome,
you know, they
man.
knew what they needed to learn and they got it. So
Cool, man.
go out there and find it.
Awesome. Really appreciate that, dude. Really appreciate your time. I'm so proud of you, man. You've just absolutely smashed it. Can't wait to get to the next retreat in Vegas and look where you're at then. Most likely with a huge fuck-off facility, as well as your current facility. Going, holy shit, I've taken some big steps, which is exactly what we want. So thank you so much for your time, man. Love you. You rock it, and you've done so well. So awesome job, and speak to you soon.
Thanks, man. No worries at all.
Boom! How amazing was that? David is such a well-spoken, he's developed so much over that period of time. It's just ridiculous to know him and see him at the start. See where he's got to right now. He's absolutely smashed it. So guys, if you watch that and you're like, holy crap, he's so young and he's learned so much from this process, how can I also get the same results? Then guys, I'm more than happy to give you the answers. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to implement it, but I'm happy to give you the answers if you're right for a session. I'll do a little bit of stalking, you may or you may not, but go below guys, put in your details, claim a free session. I'll spend some of my spare time throughout the week just having a quick chat with you, helping you get clarity in your niche, business model, marketing plan, and exactly what's holding you back. Okay, 90% of coaches that we speak to don't actually know the issue that's presented in front of them without having that third party kind of perspective on the situation. And that's what I want to give to you guys. So if you are driven, if you are hungry, if you want to get to 7 figures quicker, go below this video, claim that session, and I can't wait to chat to you soon. Peace out.